final week of October became one of the most destructive of the year, 2025. A fierce Category 5 tropical hurricane, Melissa, in the Caribbean region. 6 powerful earthquakes with magnitudes of 6 and above across the planet in just 3 days. An almost historic world record for rainfall in Vietnam. All the details ahead in this issue. Today we will also respond to a comment that appears under almost every one of our reports. United States. During the night of October 25th, powerful thunderstorms struck the Dallas-Fort Worth area, a major urban agglomeration in northern Texas. Wind speeds reached 108 kilometers per hour. Radar signals initially indicated possible tornado formation, but later experts concluded that the observed damage was more consistent with straight-line winds, estimated at about 135 kilometers per hour. The storm was accompanied by hundreds of lightning strikes. Several hit residential buildings, causing 6 fires in Dallas and Denton counties. Within 24 hours, 79 millimeters of rain fell at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, the heaviest October rainfall recorded there in a quarter century. By morning, 260,000 residents of Houston, Texas's largest city, were left without electricity as the storm front passed through the area. By the evening of October 26th, the same weather system had moved into Florida, bringing catastrophic rainfall. Dozens of roads and residential neighborhoods were flooded. In the Sanford area, traffic was disrupted on one of the state's main transportation arteries, which went underwater. Due to the sudden flooding, the National Weather Service declared a state of emergency, a rare measure for this region. In Lake County, up to 500 millimeters of rain fell in some areas within 24 hours, comparable to the levels recorded during Hurricane Ian, one of the most destructive in U.S. history. As a result of the flooding, roads and infrastructure were damaged in the cities of Mount Dora and Eustis. In some areas, residents were strongly advised to boil drinking water. Near Eustis, 2 sinkholes were reported, presumably caused by soil erosion. Storm Benjamin. Starting on October 23rd, Storm Benjamin swept across Europe, bringing strong winds, heavy rainfall, and flooding. An orange level of weather alert was declared in 7 countries. Extreme weather conditions caused disruptions in road, rail, ferry, and air traffic. Within 24 hours, major airlines canceled more than 260 flights and delayed over 870. Thousands of people were stranded in the airports of London, Amsterdam, Paris, Dublin, and Frankfurt. The greatest damage was recorded in France. Hurricane-force winds battered the coasts of the English Channel and the Atlantic, while on the island of Corsica, gusts reached 168 kilometers per hour. In the Bay of Biscay, wave heights exceeded 14 meters. In various regions, 7 people were injured by falling trees. 140,000 households were left without electricity. Parks and gardens in Paris and its suburbs were temporarily closed. In the departments of Corrèze and Cantal, heavy downpours occurred. 109 millimeters of rain fell within 24 hours. A tragic incident occurred on Corsica. A man was swept away by a powerful current. While he and his family were swimming in the Fango River, the water rose so rapidly that it caught them by surprise. His wife and 2 children were rescued. In the United Kingdom, in Suffolk County, more than 2,000 homes were left without electricity. Winds reached 120 kilometers per hour, toppling trees onto railway tracks. In the Netherlands, squalls and torrential rain caused traffic jams exceeding 900 kilometers during rush hour. High-speed train service was also suspended. In Switzerland, all ferry routes on Lake Geneva were cancelled by the shipping company. Near the city of St. Gallen, a strong gust of wind overturned a trailer, temporarily blocking traffic on National Highway A13 for 2 hours. In Spain, firefighters responded to more than 600 emergency calls related to wind damage. In total, 26 people were injured, 11 of whom required hospitalization. In Tarragona province, the storm caused another tragedy. A man was swept away by powerful waves and drowned. Tropical Hurricane Melissa. On the morning of October 28th, Tropical Hurricane Melissa, which had reached Category 5, struck the coast of Jamaica near the town of New Hope. The wind speed reached nearly 300 kilometers per hour. It went down in history as the most powerful storm in the region in 174 years of observation. The wind was hurling branches and debris, tearing roofs off houses, and the streets were filling with rushing streams of water. Due to the storm surge, the streets of the historic port of Black River were completely flooded. Almost the entire parish of St. Elizabeth, the country's main agricultural center, was also underwater. Several families were cut off from the outside world, and rescuers were unable to reach them. The destructive wall of the hurricane reached Montego Bay, the third largest city and a key tourist hub of the country. Water poured from hotel ceilings like a waterfall. The buildings were flooded. 3/4 of the island's residents were left without electricity or communication. About 15,000 people found refuge in temporary shelters. All of Jamaica was declared a disaster zone. Local residents compared what was happening to scenes from a disaster movie. Palm trees broken like matchsticks, roads washed away, and houses standing with water up to their windows. The disaster claimed the lives of 19 people in the country. The second country to take the direct hit of the hurricane was Cuba. It brought torrential rains and a storm surge to its territory. In advance, the authorities evacuated more than 735,000 people, mainly from low-lying and coastal areas. There were reports of flooding, damaged roofs, and downed power lines. Melissa spared neither other Caribbean countries, leaving behind destruction and human casualties. In Haiti, the hurricane brought heavy rains and squally winds. In the city of Petit Goâve, the river overflowed its banks, flooding homes and bridges. According to official data, at least 30 people were killed, and some remain missing. Landslides, floods, and washed-out roads made many villages inaccessible to rescuers. The authorities of Haiti called what was happening a national disaster. In the Dominican Republic, the storm claimed one life, and another person was reported missing. Melissa became one of the most powerful hurricanes in the Atlantic in the entire history of observations. Vietnam. Last week, central Vietnam faced catastrophic flooding after record-breaking rainfall. In the city of Hue, the former imperial capital of the country, known for its historical monuments and UNESCO World Heritage Sites, more than 1,700 millimeters of rain fell in a single day. This is the second highest daily total in the world in the history of meteorological observations. The disaster claimed the lives of 10 people, and 5 others are reported missing. Cities in central Vietnam were almost completely paralyzed. In Hue and Da Nang, dozens of districts were submerged, with water levels reaching up to 4 meters in some areas. Residential neighborhoods were flooded, roads destroyed, and bridges damaged. In the commune of Tra Tan, 30 landslides destroyed 11 homes. To prevent the collapse of critical railway bridges over the Hoang River due to floodwaters, 2 trains carrying stones with a total weight of over 1,100 tons were sent to reinforce them. The scale of the destruction is enormous. Over 65,000 households were submerged, agricultural lands were destroyed, and several thousand livestock perished. Rescue operations took place under continuous heavy rain. Argentina. On October 25th, a storm with torrential rain struck the capital of Argentina, Buenos Aires, and its suburbs. In some areas, up to 155 millimeters of rainfall were recorded, more than the monthly norm, with most of it falling in just 2 hours. Traffic on several key highways was paralyzed. In certain areas, cars were submerged almost up to their roofs. Suburban transportation was also disrupted. The water level in the Medrano stream, which flows into the La Plata River, rose almost 2.5 times and exceeded 5 meters. This became the main cause of the flooding. The city streets turned into rushing streams, and residents had to move through water waist deep. In the metropolitan region, about 45,000 consumers were left without electricity. According to historical data, such an extreme amount of rainfall in October is extremely rare for Buenos Aires. Observations here have been conducted since the year 1906, and this is only the 3rd recorded instance when more than 100 millimeters of rain fell in a single day in October. Türkiye. On the evening of October 27th, an earthquake with a magnitude of 6.1 was recorded in the district of Sındırgı, Balıkesir province. The hypocenter was approximately 6 kilometers deep. The tremors were felt not only by residents of neighboring provinces, but also by those of nearby countries. Despite the earthquake's strength and the shallow depth of its epicenter, there were no reports of casualties or major destruction. In Balıkesir, 4 buildings collapsed, 3 of which had already been damaged in a previous seismic event. 26 people sustained injuries of varying severity. In Manisa province, the tremors damaged 83 structures across 9 districts. 42 residents required medical assistance. After the main shock, a seismic swarm followed. From night until noon on October 28th, about 500 aftershocks were recorded, 12 of which had magnitudes above 4. Authorities set up temporary tent shelters in the open air, as many residents were afraid to return to their homes due to the risk of new tremors. Heavy rain complicated the work of rescue teams and the lives of citizens. Some people who had taken shelter in pavilions and cafes ran back out into the streets again during the aftershocks, despite the downpour. According to seismologists' observations, over the past 3 months, about 12,000 earthquakes have been recorded in the region, and this upward trend continues, exceeding normal levels. It is worth noting that during the past week, alone, in just 3 days, Earth experienced 6 powerful earthquakes with magnitudes of 6 and above in different parts of the planet. New Zealand.
Parts of New Zealand were pummeled by dangerous winds.
On October 23rd, New Zealand was hit for the second time in a week by hurricane-force winds, once again leaving behind destruction and chaos. The storm was strongest in the capital, Wellington, as well as in several regions of the South Island. In some areas, wind gusts reached 230 kilometers per hour. As a result, a red, the highest, alert level was declared for several affected regions, an event extremely rare for this area. In Canterbury, the country's largest region, authorities were forced to declare a state of emergency. The storm raged with fierce intensity, wind up rooted trees, tore off roofs, and left tens of thousands of homes without electricity. More than 200 flights had to be cancelled, and several highways were closed. The strong wind also triggered wildfires, making firefighting efforts extremely difficult. Frequently in the comments under our reports, viewers write that nothing is happening with the climate, that everything is as it used to be. It rained, earthquakes occurred, just like before. We sincerely rejoice for those who have not yet been affected by a climate catastrophe. But, as the saying goes, it is better to learn without making your own mistakes. We can only share information with you and suggest 3 steps for your safety, and you have the right to decide whether to follow them or not. Step 1. Read any news reports about people who have survived natural disasters. Try to put yourself in their place. Can you imagine your home being completely flooded within minutes, or destroyed by a tornado that has never occurred in your region before?
Catching un tornado.
The first thing all survivors say is, "We did not expect this to happen." Suddenness is the main factor. This means people were not warned, and most importantly, natural disasters develop very rapidly and are becoming increasingly destructive. Moreover, many do not know how to act in such situations because they never considered it would affect them. And one more point that all eyewitnesses of disasters mention: afterwards they are left alone with their misfortune. They have nowhere to live, nothing to eat, no drinking water. Yes, rescuers do everything possible, but their technical and human resources are extremely limited. We must understand that saving our lives is our responsibility. Step 2. Understand what is truly happening with the climate. Thanks to the work of the international scientific team, ALLATRA, the true causes of climate catastrophes and ways to prevent them have been identified. You can study these interdisciplinary investigations yourself, as all the information is publicly available and presented in simple, understandable language. Knowledge removes fear and encourages action. Step 3. We urgently need to inform everyone on the planet about the rapidly escalating climate crisis. Thousands of concerned volunteers are already spreading this information on social media. Today, all of humanity must raise the issue of climate in a unified voice and demand the creation of an international scientific center to study and address this problem. particularly regarding micro and nanoplastics, as discussed in previous reports. For the best scientists to find solutions, society must generate a demand. Action must begin now. The simplest thing each person can do is not remain silent.